on radio.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Facebook.
Oh yeah, we have no sound anywhere. Hello? Hello, sound! Well, that's annoying and strange and weird. Sorry about that. There's always one thing, you know?
If it ain't one thing, that's another.
But we should have...
Well, wait a minute. Does Anywhere have sound? Does
No, I think
Krypton have sound?
I think the video didn't have sound. I think Krypton had
okay.
sound. I think the video didn't have sound, and now it's back. It's there.
Okay.
We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you? It's
boring conversation anyway.
Right. You just heard me introduce myself as Sean Sean Crosby.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
And we thanked Kit for all her hard work.
And then we started wondering where everybody was because nobody had made a comment.
Right. Yes. And
but I see people now. Yay.
It's it's one of those days. It's really just been one of those days. And since Jeff isn't here, I'll tell you what. Let's like zoom way in, and then we'll tilt up, and we will just make it all about the Millennium Falcon on behalf of Jeff. So we got that going on for us. Right. It's great.
Well, Sean and I were just at the memorial service. We were just at a memorial service, and it was lovely.
Yes, it was actually very nice.
But that's why we're running behind a little bit.
Yeah, so we got a little bit of a late start.
Yeah.
So, but that's cool.
And I'm trying to remember. I can't remember anything happening in the last week. For me, it's all been work.
Well, I mean, whatever happened in the past week, honestly, today it was completely overshadowed by the Disney shareholder call.
Yeah. I mean, basically, we could actually probably spend the whole 2 hours just talking
Yeah,
about that.
and we might. I mean, because
Yeah.
so the Disney shareholder call takes place in two universes. In one universe, you are an actual Disney shareholder, and they give you that live stream or your press. We don't rank, but the that call, like, you see everything and you see, presentations and stuff. And then there's another one that you can do as the public where they black things out, which is really funny. And it's like, oh, we're going to show you Mandalorian season 3, but not you. Because you don't buy our stock.
So the shareholders got to see clips and everybody else just got to hear? Because there was like
Yeah, sometimes it would go black.
There was a feed that people were following and posting to Facebook.
Exactly. But that said, I mean, they still announced things. They showed little sizzle reels. And there were things that were announced after the fact. Because honestly, it really, there's not really anything Disney can show the shareholders that they're not going to want to share with the general public.
Yeah.
Is usually how it boils down. So
Right.
it's like anything that they showed will inevitably find its way to the internet. But the biggest news, I mean, was that there are about 50 new titles coming over the next couple of years to Disney Plus, and that includes like 10 from Star Wars, 10 from Marvel, a whole bunch of Pixar stuff. They're crazy. Oh my gosh!
A whole bunch of Disney stuff, a whole bunch of animated
Disney animation stuff, stuff from Fox because they picked up Fox, and it's going to be absolutely insane. And this is hot on the heels of the announcement that Warner Brothers was basically going to take their entire slate of films and show it on HBO Max, which has been upsetting people to no end. And not people who want to see this stuff. It's been upsetting the filmmakers.
Yeah, people
and so,
in
like,
the industry.
Christopher Nolan's having a tantrum. He's going crazy. He's like, you can't do that to my movie. But Chris Nolan was also the guy who was trying desperately to get his film shown in theaters in the middle of a pandemic. So, dude,
Right.
seriously, you're a great filmmaker, but that was kind of a douchey move.
I feel like we should have Lisa call in because she was. Wait, was that Lisa who was?
It was
hosting?
Lisa.
Yeah.
There were many people who were squeeing, but
Right.
Lisa, who listens to the show, it was pointed out that one of the Star Wars properties, which is Rogue Squadron, which
I almost feel like we should have her call in.
I know, right? Because
Yeah.
she said that the movie comes out in 3 years, and it may take like an entire year for her to stop screaming.
She said she's eating tacos and still actively screaming. I was just confused I couldn't remember if I was getting my Lisas confused. I was like,
no.
I was pretty sure it was
No, you had
Lisa.
you had the correct Lisa.
Okay.
And it's for some of us, like, being a Star Wars pilot is like a huge deal. Lisa is definitely one of those. Her husband Gregor is definitely one of those. And I think the earliest pictures I remember seeing of them together, they were in pilot costume at Dragon Con.
And apparently fake Lisa was also screaming.
Yeah, I mean, basically everybody. And part of the big news for Rogue Squadron, first off, Rogue Squadron has been a series of really successful books, has been a successful comic series, and it's followed a lot of characters that we really like. But this film is being helmed by Patty Jenkins, who has been doing the Wonder Woman films.
Did you see her tweets?
I saw her tweets and the little video that she posted, which was great, where she talks about her dad, who was a pilot,
I didn't
and the
get to
whole
watch
deal.
the video.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, I've got it up on my screen, but I didn't.
Oh.
There was no way. I like went from work to a memorial service in
Right,
like
right.
1 minute. So it was like click.
Well, and here we are eating dinner on the show because
Right.
we're
Can you play it?
total
Can you
jerks.
play her video?
I can.
That would be awesome.
Sure. It actually should have enough good audio on it that it should be good for the radio folks too.
Okay.
So let me dig it up. because
Do you want me to send you the link?
no, I feel like I have it
Because I have it open on my screen.
here somewhere. Maybe not, because there have been so many people just freaking out.
There, I
And
sent it to the planning chat.
okay, well let me grab it. And yeah, I mean honestly, there's a whole huge.
Michael Stackpole said, "This is so bloody cool. Glad to know the person doing the Rogue Squadron movies feels the same about pilots, duty, and Star Wars as I did when I was writing the novels and graphic novels. Can't wait."
And in addition to writing those things, he also did. He wrote some of the game elements. So if you were playing Star Wars, the role-playing game, the D6 system, Michael Stackpole wrote a whole bunch of adventures that involved, Rogue Squadron and things like that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is get this up on the screen, and let me make sure that you guys can hear it.
So Canis Latransapiens says, "I've already seen people crapping on it if it doesn't follow the extended universe, which we know Disney deprecated." And my response to that was, well, people have also crapped on it because a woman is at the helm.
Well, and that's
so they can just bite me.
That's a huge problem. Is that already the He-Man Woman Haters Club are bashing on Patty Jenkins and
Yep.
and Kathy Kennedy, who just announced all these great things, right?
Yeah. And
And-
they're saying that she's no good.
Let me give you the encapsulated version about Kathy Kennedy. She's a producer. She's an executive. She's president of Lucasfilm. She makes all the things you like happen. So if you like The Mandalorian right now, give her some credit. If you like that she has Dave Filoni doing live action, give her some credit. If you like that Jon Favreau is there, give her some credit. If you like this volume space that they're shooting on right now that's making The Mandalorian such a badass show, give her some credit. Back off. You don't know what she does. End of story. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you tell I've been making this argument a lot lately? Because people don't understand what a producer does. And
People are lame.
it's driving me nuts. Okay. So I'm gonna pop over here. Let me test the sound here real quick. Okay, we have sound. I'm gonna pop over to the monitor. If you're watching on twitch.tv/docking_bay_94. You should be able to see this video. If you are on kryptonradio.com, you should hear it, or you can go to twitch.tv/docking_bay_94, and you can watch it with us. But, everybody ready? Let's give it a shot.
I love to move fast and speed of any kind. I think that that's because I grew up the daughter of a great fighter pilot, and every day I would wake up and go outside and look up and see my father and his squadron taking off and their F-4s roaring across the sky, and it was the most thrilling thing still I've experienced in my entire life. So when he lost his life in service to this country, it ignited a desire in me to turn all of that tragedy and thrill into one day making the greatest fighter pilot movie of all time. But try as I might and look as I did, I couldn't find the right story ever. I kept looking and looking, but I just couldn't find the right one until now. Now I found a movie about two things I love. So I'm going to see you very soon.
Oh. Oh my god. I'm dying. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Sorry, I don't know why you don't have sound over on the video. You should have sound now. There's something going on with the software, but just keep telling me every time the sound cuts out, because never a dull moment. But anyway, so Patty Jenkins, whom you saw there in the video, she is so flipping excited to be doing a fighter pilot film and to be doing a Star Wars film. It's like two things she really wanted to do.
I did not expect that to make me cry.
And this is the woman who did Wonder Woman. I mean, she's already done amazing stuff. Like, I can't wait for Wonder Woman 84. Can you imagine what she's going to be able to do with this? And actually, interestingly, there's what I recall from the trailers is that there's going to be, fighter pilot stuff in Wonder Woman 84. You get like a little taste of what she could do with planes. So, yeah, oh my gosh, it's gonna be great. And what you guys probably didn't hear over on Twitch is that Disney pisses me off because they mess with your emotions all the time, and that was a good instance of what it was. So
yeah, that was.
Anyway, there's a whole bunch of stuff here that I guess we should run through. I had a great thing open, which had basically a link to everything. All of these little things that were announced. I think over here on the Star Wars site is probably our best bet because let me just see. A lot of them are just graphics, which really suck. Although maybe they just don't have anything to show. But there's a couple, and I'll run down the list here really quick from StarWars.com. Of what they announced today. So Rogue Squadron from Patty Jenkins, which we just covered. There is an as yet untitled Taika Waititi film, and I haven't seen anything he's done that I haven't liked yet. Did I say that wrong? I haven't seen anything that he's done that I haven't liked yet. Not liked yet. I've liked everything he's done. Just in case that was unclear, because
know what? I wasn't able to follow while I was working.
Right, and it didn't click in my head.
No, he did a thing.
Yeah.
And it was during the part of the lockdown where all of Hollywood was coming together because they weren't working.
Right.
And so they were coming together and like doing live streams and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a reading of James and the Giant Peach. With different people reading, different celebrities reading with him every chapter.
That's neat.
So, like, different people would play the same roles for different chapters. But I wasn't able to follow it while I was working, and I ended up not being able to see the whole thing because it was something that you had to watch because Taika Waititi is so kind of intense in a way.
Yeah, he is.
So, anyway.
He has a sensibility that's very different from the standard American sensibility that we're used to.
Yeah.
And it takes some getting used to. And that's like we went and saw Jojo Rabbit. And like parts of it were amazing. And parts of it were horrifying. And it became a completely different movie halfway through, and then it tried to recover and go back to the movie it was when it started, and that didn't quite work. But it was a good movie. All right, so
now that I've gotten control of myself, can I go back and talk about that video that you just showed?
Yeah.
That was amazing. And it just, well, maybe I don't know how to express what I'm feeling, so maybe I shouldn't talk.
I like that she tied it into something personal for her.
Yeah.
I think that was really good.
Nope, gonna cry again.
That's okay. So the battle that she's fighting is that she's a woman playing in a male-oriented action figure universe. And I would hope that we would be past this by now, but she's one of the better directors we've seen in recent times, and I think she's just going to kick ass at it. I think it's going to be amazing. And because she has a personal connection to it, she wants to do the best job possible. It's not just a job. She's not getting a paycheck. She's not like, oh, yeah, I could do something in Star Wars. She's down for it.
You know,
And I think that's going to make a huge
wonder-
difference.
I wonder. I mean, there's no way to know, really. But I wonder if you could line up all of the different people who have worked on Star Wars, like, I don't know, all of the directors or something like that. And you found which ones were the people who had a passion for Star Wars.
Yeah.
And, like, what. If you would find that, oh my gosh, these are the people who I line up with in what I think is amazing.
Well, watching Disney Gallery on the Disney Plus channel, which talks about the making of season 1 of Mandalorian.
And if you guys haven't seen that, we haven't watched all of it yet.
It's
but
totally worth your
If you
time.
haven't seen it, oh my gosh, watch it.
Yeah.
It's great.
But they do a roundtable with production people, and they do a roundtable with the directors. And it's really interesting to see these people who are coming to Star Wars with well, we all grew up with Star Wars too, and we love it too. And how excited they are to get to contribute to a universe that they have been spectators for. And it's really great because the people who are making Star Wars now are us. Now, it doesn't always work out to the best advantage. Like, I like J.J. Abrams. I think he's a fine director. But I think we got, like, too much of old Star Wars in the last trilogy. And I think, as much of a Star Wars fan as he is, I don't think it served the universe really well having him do it. We had Lord and Miller who got replaced. Lord and Miller were doing the Solo movie, and they love Star Wars to death, but they also are like better comedy directors than action directors. And Solo was taking a weird left turn that the rest of the production didn't really want it to take, and the actors were getting really confused. They're like, why are we improvising so much? Why are we not sticking to the script? What are we doing here? And then Ron Howard came in. Ron, who very specifically had turned down directing Star Wars movies in the past, came in and took on Solo and, sort of steered it back into the right direction.
Can I also just say that if Sean had his way and, like, was the director of the Star Wars universe, or the producer of the Star Wars universe, I guess, Ron Howard would have directed one of the prequels.
Oh, easily, yeah. Well, if I had my way, I'd have sat George down, and this would have taken a lot of guts. But I would have sat George down, and I said, George, the reason that the original trilogy worked so well is you set up the universe, and then you let other people play in it. And so you do episode 1, and then someone else does episode 2, and someone else does episode 3. That's how I wanted to see it work. And because we got Irvin Kershner in there, who wasn't necessarily a Star Wars fan, and he did a tremendous movie. Like, The Empire Strikes Back is largely considered by most people to be the best of the trilogy. I still like the original one, as my favorite. But I bounce back and forth on different days. Sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 5. But Irvin Kershner came in and killed it. He just did this amazing, amazing movie because it didn't matter. It was Star Wars. It was a war movie, and it was a character movie, and it was great. And I think that's one of the things that made the sequel to a really amazing movie also amazing, because usually the second film in a trilogy blows chunks, and Star Wars beat that rap. And I think it's because of Irvin Kershner and also the rest of the creative people who did it, but because it wasn't George directing it, I think that's one of the things that made it really great. So having all these different directors jump in and do this, people who are at the top of their game, regardless of what genre they like to work in, if you find their strength, like I would like to see Lord and Miller, who directed the Lego Movie, and they did 21 and 22 Jump Street and things like that, who didn't get to do the Solo movie, bring them in to do a Star Wars comedy. If you find a good, funny, script that would work with their talents, let them do it. By all means, it's just the right person for the right job. And I think Patty Jenkins is the right person for Rogue Squadron.
I think so too. Lisa made a comment that I thought was very funny. She said, JJ is great at setting things up, not so much at landing them. Looks pointedly at Lost.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is that, as fun as the last trilogy was, if I suspended my life after age 10 in my head and watched the last trilogy, it was fun. If I watched it with an adult eye, I found all the plot holes. I found all the problems. I did whatever. And dude, really a big giant planet that blows up other planets? Haven't we been there before? Come on. And that's why I like The Last Jedi, because whether you like Last Jedi or not, you have to admit, it took you some places that you did not think you were ever going to go. And I appreciated that as a Star Wars fan, because Episode 7 and Episode 9, you saw where they were going. There was a map in your head, that sometimes a literal map in your head that they showed you on the screen. You knew where these movies were going. And in The Last Jedi, I'm talking to more and more people now that we've been separated by several years who are like, you know what? I think I like that movie more than I thought I did when it came out. I was so mad at it when it came out. But now I get it. Now that I've sat with it for a while, I understand it. And, first off, it takes, it's very big to admit that kind of thing as a fan, to go, I hated it when it came out, but now I like it and I understand it. And secondly, it's a special kind of movie that kind of, foments for a while, and then you're like, oh yeah, okay, I see what they were doing there now. So, but because I don't want to follow the formula, and that it's not that can be bad. The Mandalorian follows a formula. It follows, depending on the episode, a spaghetti western formula or a samurai movie formula. So the episode with Ahsoka was full-on samurai movie, and it was great. And somebody has lined up the shot for shot, and they're like, hey, look at this shot from Yojimbo, and look at this shot.
Isn't a samurai movie pretty much a spaghetti western, though?
Well, they're
just like from different cultures, but they're the same thing.
Yes, but they gave and took from each other. So the Seven Samurai became the Magnificent Seven. And it became a spaghetti western and things like that. And so, yeah, they have similarities. And the majority of them are about a lone warrior that, has to go accomplish something. And that works for The Mandalorian. And so following a formula isn't necessarily a bad thing. You just have to know how to do it right. Star Wars Episode 4, or as Lori Procopio points out, what we now call A New Hope, was stolen from everything. But it was put in a giant blender and distilled in such a way that it became its own story. And that was really great. So, honestly, if they take the Top Gun formula and they apply it to Rogue Squadron, if they do it right, that's not going to suck. Top Gun's a good formula movie. And, you could apply that to Star Wars and have it be tremendous. So, we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Some of the other news that we got, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Obi-Wan series, is going to be filmed in Boston. So it's going to be interesting, which leads me to think that they are going to set up the same kind of volume technology that they're using for The Mandalorian. They're just going to find a place on the East Coast to do it. I'm not sure why they're doing it there, but, having one there and one here probably would be helpful to them.
Well, I mean, maybe that's where Ewan McGregor's living now.
Well, he's here, I think. I think he's out here in
Maybe
L.A.
he moved.
Maybe he did. I don't know. We used to see him
Maybe
at the
the director lives out
motorcycle store down the street all the time.
Yeah.
So one of the interesting things about this is it's going to be 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. So 10 years will have passed, which...
Wait, hang on. What number is Revenge of the Sith?
It's episode 3.
Episode 3, okay.
Yeah, it's the last one.
Sorry,
so Luke will be like 10 years old.
Got it.
In it. And they made the announcement today that Hayden Christensen will come back as Darth Vader. Which, of course, we haven't seen him play since Revenge of the Sith.
Interesting.
So, instead of, putting some, huge muscle-bound dude in a suit, they're going to have Hayden Christensen come back They already have a suit that fits him, so I guess it kind of makes sense.
Laura says, "Park the land speeder in the Harvard yard."
The land speeder. So Hayden Christensen, of course, came back, and he's very excited. He says, it was an incredible journey playing Anakin Skywalker. Of course, Anakin and Obi-Wan weren't on the greatest of terms when we last saw them. It'll be interesting to see what an amazing director like Deborah Chow has in store for all of us. I'm excited to work with Ewan again, and it feels good to be back. And so Deborah Chow has done a number of episodes of The Mandalorian, so you already know her work within the Star Wars universe. So
I was looking at something. Is she going to be the only director, or are they having multiple directors the way they do?
No,
with
I
The
believe
Mandalorian?
she's the only director.
Interesting. Okay.
Basically, a lot of these series that we're talking about are essentially miniseries. And so they're going to do like 6, 8, 10 episodes of a thing and then be done with it. The Mandalorian, because it's an ongoing thing, has multiple directors swapping in and out.
Yeah, like a regular TV show
Right.
does.
But I think in this case, it's just Deborah Chow, and she's going to do the whole series. Based on the Mandalorian episode that we saw a couple of weeks ago, of course, to no surprise, Disney has announced an Ahsoka series. It says that it is also a limited series, so like maybe 6, 8 episodes. And Dave Filoni, of course, is coming back to guide Ahsoka, which is his character, basically. He has seen the entire history of the existence of that character, working with George Lucas on the Clone Wars, and so Ahsoka has been both informed by Dave and by George, and so we're going to get a mini-series about her. And Rosario Dawson, of course, is coming back after her extremely successful debut as Ahsoka. So that could be pretty good. Jon Favreau is also involved, and he is the man who can do no wrong right now. Although, remember, we had cowboys and aliens. He's not perfect. Okay. The next one they announced was something called Rangers of the New Republic, which is going to be within the Mandalorian universe, the same time frame. It is a live-action series, also from Favreau and Filoni, and it doesn't say that it's limited, but it is going to intersect and bounce off of The Mandalorian, so there'll be crossover between the two. And so we'll have to see. I mean, they've already been giving us a lot of New Republic stuff with the X-Wing pilots and things like that, and they've been showing us how they are now sort of peacekeepers of the galaxy. And we also saw where Cara Dune was given a Marshal's badge for the New Republic, and we saw her in one of the episodes where she was pointing out that now that she's sort of working for the New Republic, she has to follow rules and guidelines, and she's less of a mercenary. So there's some setup happening in The Mandalorian for this right now, which will be pretty interesting. I don't know if they're going to spin Cara Dune off into this. I don't know if that's going to be part of it. They haven't given us enough information really about it. But they did give us a very spiffy logo. And
I bet they're going to put out like pins that say that.
Oh, I'm sure.
When it comes out.
Yeah. That's that won't be a surprise at all. Everyone's favorite scoundrel, Lando Calrissian, is going to return in what they're calling...
Is that what they're going to call it?
Apparently.
Everyone's favorite scoundrel?
They should, and it should be a sitcom.
Yeah.
It's just being called Lando for now. And Justin Simeon, who created Dear White People and is a giant Star Wars fan, is developing the story for it. It will be on Disney+. It's called an event series, which makes me think it's maybe a step up from something like Ahsoka, unless this is just StarWars.com getting creative with, and because they're tired of saying limited. If it's an event series, then it's probably going to be something kind of special. So maybe it's their TV movie equivalent instead of a miniseries. Andor
There's actually a definition of. Oh no, this says event television. Never mind.
Yeah, event television is a little different.
When I looked up what does event series means, it's brought up event television.
Yeah, and I don't think that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Andor has been officially announced as the title of the Diego Luna series. He will be reprising his role from Rogue One, of course. And Stellan Skarsgård is on board. Adria Arjono, Fiona Shaw, Denise Goff, Kyle Soller, Genevieve O'Reilly is coming back as Mon Mothma. And I had heard that we were going to get K2SO as part of the series. But he's not listed here.
Yeah.
Production kicked off 3 weeks ago in London, so they're already doing stuff. So, you want to look at something?
Yeah.
All right, let me see here if I can get this up and going. This is the sizzle reel for it.
I feel like you need to have jazz hands to watch a sizzle reel.
Jazz hands. Careful though. Star Wars and jazz hands, man, you might lose one.
Probably
would be bad. Alrighty. Here's this. Everybody, let me do a quick test here for a second. Okay, I'm just making sure people can still hear me, which you can. I have figured out why we keep cutting out. But you should be able to hear me now, which means you should be able to hear this.
Everything I did for the rebellion. Rogue One, in many ways, it's a film that connected new audiences with the oldest fans. It was a bittersweet feeling, on the premiere, knowing that it was just one film. But then magic happens, right? As you can see, we're getting ready. We're building stages, we're rehearsing, we're training, we're trying costumes, we're doing everything to make sure we do the best show. I'm really excited having the chance to explore Cassian. It's really fun to go on a set that is emulating something you like so much.
The enormity of this is like doing a big feature film.
It's very cinematic. For me, that's where the excitement is.
12 episodes, 12 scripts, over 200 named cast members, over 6,000 crowd people, a lot of creatures that come in from the creature department.
We treat this exactly like we would have filmed. There is no difference in our approach.
Every creature and droid that we've been building has the same care, level of attention to detail as the previous films.
It's huge, it's thrilling, but also it's wonderfully challenging.
There's tons of possibilities to explore. It is the building of a revolution.
Looks pretty spiffy. That could be super, super cool.
I like it.
Well, and I love that all these people are just so excited about everything.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you be?
Well, I would
All
be,
these
yeah.
things coming out, don't they need some motion capture from me?
I know, right? Where's motion capture,
Well, they have their own motion capture, but,
I can do props. Yeah, we could do stuff. Voices. So, there's another one that we don't have a lot of information on that is called The Acolyte. Leslie Headland, who created the series Russian Doll, is going to have a Star Wars series that is a mystery thriller that apparently takes place in the last days of the High Republic era and sort of apparently focuses on the dark side of stuff.
Hang on. What's the High Republic era?
The High Republic era if I'm correct, is the new time frame that they're focusing on. Remember, we were announcing all sorts of new characters and books and things like that. You've got like the Old Republic, and then the High Republic is sort of like the heyday of that. It's the even fancier.
I just need to at all
version.
times have a
timeline?
chart with a timeline and stuff because I forget what they're calling stuff.
Skydance 10 asked about the volume for Mandalorian. Right now, it is in fact specific to the Mandalorian, but it can be used for anything. Anything they want to. If they want to go in there and hook up an Xbox and play video games, they can do it. It's completely flexible, and so when the Mandalorian is dark and they're not shooting, they can roll another series right in there and do it, provided they've done the same prep work that they've done on the Mandalorian. All the sets are generated in the Unreal Engine, and they have to have those sets created in 3D in a way that the volume can actually play them, and they can have parallax with the camera when they move the camera around. But that said, it's not. They've learned so much on The Mandalorian that it wouldn't really surprise me that they had any difficulty moving any series in there to do it. So,
I'm going to shortcut the definition of the High Republic era and just say it's the Golden Age of the Jedi.
fair enough. I think that's more or less what I said.
This was a quicker sentence, though.
That is a much quicker sentence.
Yeah.
So we've been seeing announcements for books that we've been talking about here, and we did a thing where we showed character art for all of them, and they're like typical Jedi stuff, but super fancy. And it's the same kind of stuff that we've been seeing in a lot of the game universe already. And it's a way to tell Star Wars stories without having to deal with the original trilogy or any of the baggage that has come out of that. It's considerably longer ago than the Skywalker saga. After the Acolyte, they announced also sort of another inevitable series, which is an animated series for Disney Plus that's called Star Wars: The Bad Batch. And it's going to follow the Bad Batch clones that we first met in the Clone Wars. And
are they the same ones that are in the in Rebels?
In Rebels? No.
Or they're like the Wolf Pack or something.
It was one that I think they announced that they showed in the latest version of the Clone Wars, which we didn't see the last season.
Okay. Right, the new season.
Right.
Okay, got it.
And so it's a season 7 episode that they introduced these guys in, and this they did give us a little sizzle reel of. So let's see here. I'm going to roll this over here. Sorry it takes so long for me to kind of set up on this. I find
they
that
call themselves.
Hush you. I find that it's a lot easier to go to YouTube to do it. Okay, here is the Bad Batch.
They call themselves the Bad Batch.
The Republic will be reorganized into the First Galactic Empire!
That was quite an impressive display.
could be cool. It reminds me very much of a game that was called Republic Commandos. The armor looks very similar, and the demeanor of the clones is kind of the same. It was a good game. I enjoyed it a lot, and we'll have to see. It doesn't mention if Dave Filoni is going to have a lot of input on it. He seems pretty busy, and he seems spread a little thin.
Yep.
So they might have just handed those guys over to somebody else, even though they originate from the Clone Wars. But an action cartoon series about a squad, sort of in the style of Rogue One, where they've got missions to accomplish and they go out and do their thing. It could be pretty good, and it's definitely like more of the war movie aspect of it that we don't get to see so much. I didn't find that so much in the Clone Wars, that they were sort of riffing on the kind of war movies like Force 10 from Navarone and Kelly's Heroes, and like all of these movies that followed like some elite squad or even a squad of misfits that went out and had missions to accomplish. I expected to see more of that in the Clone Wars animated series, and so we might actually get that with these guys. Should be kind of cool. There's one called Star Wars Visions that's coming out, which is a series of animated short films that basically they're handing the universe over to anime creators. And they're doing it as an anthology series. They're going to have 10 stories that have a very Japanese flair to them. And so we'll have to see. Star Wars has played with this in the past, not from so much for anime, but they've done it for manga, which has been kind of cool. So this could be pretty fun. And honestly, it reminds me very much of a project that was called The Animatrix, where they did the same thing. They took the Matrix universe and handed it over to animators who represented it in a very kind of anime style. And with the success of, what was it? Love, Death, and Robots, was that the name of it? That was a series that kind of did the same sort of anthology thing. It sounds just in that similar kind of vein. And one thing that we know about Star Wars, if it's popular, they will do it. And Disney. And then there's something called a Droid Story, which is Lucasfilm Animation and Industrial Light and Magic to do a Star Wars adventure called A Droid Story, which will have R2 and C-3PO kind of in supporting roles, but introduce us to a new droid hero, which could be fun. Maybe a Gonk, although I doubt it. I'd like to see an adventure film about a Gonk. I would watch that.
It would be like watching an adventure film about a turtle.
Right. But I like turtles.
I like turtles.
Yeah. So, stepping beyond Star Wars and the Star Wars announcements today, Willow, which we'd already heard about, has been announced. And they're getting ready to do that as a series set several decades after the film. And so, that should allow them to bring back, characters that we like from that film and whatnot, and bring them in. Tomi Adeyemi, who wrote Children of Blood and Bone, is going to do the story. And we'll have to see how that goes. Boy, the article kind of breaks down at the end. It gets crazy. John Chu is going to direct. He did Crazy Rich Asians. And then, of course, the next Indiana Jones film is going to...
with Harrison Ford.
With Harrison Ford. Is supposed to shoot in 2021 and get here by July of 2022, when hopefully we can go back to theaters and see it.
Right.
Oh, my gosh.
So But it wasn't only Star Wars things that got announced.
No, I mean Marvel's got its own slate of stuff.
I mean, I'm looking at something that's got a live action Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
And I'm assuming it's like a Roger Rabbit
I think so, because it says hybrid live action animated feature.
Right, so it's like Chip and Dale in the real world, which is
and it's
weird.
Starring John Mulaney as Chip and Andy Samberg as Dale.
Okay, well, I mean, largely I think they're just going to speed up their voices like normal.
Probably,
so.
yeah. And then
Bill Hader was BB-8. Anything can happen.
A musical comedy series based on Moana.
Okay.
A long-form musical comedy series based on Tiana. An announcement that Marvel will not recast Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa in Black Panther 2. So that's kind of a relief.
Right. Well, it doesn't mean they won't hand the Black Panther over to someone else. They're just not going to have anyone else play.
I mean, they have to
T'Challa.
hand it off to somebody else.
Yeah. So
because somebody has to be Black Panther. So
well, that's good.
Can I just break in here while we're talking about Black Panther and tell you all the saddest thing that I saw on the internet this week?
Oh, this was heartbreaking.
Cried. And I'm terrible at names, so I'm gonna forget her name.
Letitia.
She plays Black Panther's sister.
All right, she plays Shuri. Letitia.
Hang on.
Blanking on her name too.
I'm gonna look it up. Who plays Shuri in? That's funny. Somebody wrote who plays Shuri
Wright?
in Star Wars. Letitia Wright. Yeah. She's an anti-vaxxer.
Yeah, well, so she posted a video to her social media that was heavily anti-vax.
I guess that's true. It's not proven that she's an anti-vaxxer, but
she got so much of pushback. She took all her social media down. All her accounts are gone. And I'm really hoping that it turns out to be maybe she just didn't watch the whole thing, or
I hope so.
Something.
That having somebody else, like if the Hulk, the guy who plays the Hulk.
I'd be disappointed
again, bad with names.
in that too.
Oh no, sorry, not the Hulk. Let me think of someone else. If it was Black Widow, it would be disappointing, but having the person who represents science in the Marvel universe stand behind something that's anti-vax and anti-science.
Yeah. It's
heartbreaking.
It's I would still be disappointed if Scarlett Johansson did it.
Yes, I would be disappointed.
But
I'm just trying
if it was the dude in Black Panther who played the head of the Gorilla Clan, I'd feel less upset.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
it's just
I'm
the
saying
representation.
That it's particularly bad. It would be just as bad if the guy who plays the Hulk did it too, because those two.
Because he's a science bro.
Or Iron Man.
Right.
Because clearly I have names tonight.
Yeah.
But anyway, having the people who are, but especially having Shuri.
Well, because not only did she represent maybe the smartest person in the MCU and had the best technology at hand and wielded it well, but she represented a science woman.
Right.
And that was the thing. And you could point at that and go, look, hey, when they tell you that girls aren't as smart as boys, BS. Look at Shuri.
And
Eric, that was cool.
Yes, I am very tired. I've been tired for like 2 months. It's been insane.
Colleen's. I was gonna take a picture of a fake diamond sitting on Colleen's chair, and say that she was under so much pressure that she just turned into a diamond right in front of me.
Yeah, like I can't. My acid is so bad right now that it's like I can't.
Colleen is
really
cultivating a
careful
fine selection of ulcers right now.
Right.
Yeah, it's
super stressed out.
Pretty bad stuff, kids.
Canis Latran Sapiens says science bro with a question mark, as if he doesn't know what the science bro is.
So basically, Banner and Stark are considered the science bros because they hang out, and if you watch the Avengers and stuff, whenever they're talking sciencey stuff, they get really into it, and they're like they don't necessarily get along per se, but science surmounts that. So they hang out, in the science bros trying to solve these problems because they're both, brilliant minds.
And I need to backtrack here for a second. I missed that Lisa had said, cough, Gwyneth Paltrow, cough. I am super disappointed in Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah.
Whenever I see her now, I get angry and call her names inside my head because she scams people
All
into
of the
buying crap.
Any kind of amity that she has had with me is gone.
And it makes me angry, watching the Marvel movies that she's in. I get angry watching those movies because she disappointed me.
Well, and she's also supposed to be, very, very smart and capable and competent.
Right.
And that's her character as Pepper Potts. And then, the actress is a Fruit Loop.
Yeah. And as Lisa said, deleted Goop.
Right.
It's so disappointing that someone that is supposed to be so amazing is out scamming people.
And that's the thing, is that just about everything she sells seems to be some kind of scam. And how would you not know that it wasn't a scam?
At first I thought she was just, really free, airheady, into super beyond new age stuff.
Yeah.
And then I started reading a little bit about her, the conventions that she holds for Goop, and I am convinced that she's actually out to scam people.
I read that article, and boy, does she come across as evil. Or she has enabled evil people under her name.
Yeah, exactly.
And whatever it is, it's awful.
It's super disappointing because Pepper Potts was, I loved that character.
Not everybody has to be a hero.
Yeah.
But I expect people to be upstanding citizens.
Right.
But we live in a tough world, and I think that I brought this up last week, in that we were having a problem with Rosario Dawson, who's the Ahsoka, live action Ahsoka, and people are getting upset with her because they said she was having problems with the trans community. But I've heard from the trans community, people I've talked to who are trans and who are in that community and who know better than I do, say it's a non-issue. And so I'm going to go with that. And I've angered a whole bunch of people because I am not because I'm siding with trans people, but because the trans people aren't angry, and there's a whole bunch of straight people I know who are angry on their behalf, and there's no reason to be, apparently. But the thing with Goop is that she's basically selling snake oil to everybody, and says, if you do this, and some of them are insane. It's like, if you put this, stone egg inside your body, it will align your chakras or do whatever it's going to do for you. And it's terrible. And some of these things, honestly, are dangerous.
Yeah.
And they're very expensive because they are holistic, Hollywood claptrap.
And she promotes a lifestyle that can only be lived by incredibly wealthy people.
Yes.
And then is surprised when people
who aren't wealthy aspire
who
to
aren't
that?
wealthy. No, not when they aspire to it, when they say that's actually not possible for people who don't have your level of money. She thinks they're making it up or something. That's how she comes across. She doesn't believe them. And then on top of that, her Goop conventions promise a lot of things that they don't come through with. You pay thousands of dollars to be in what's basically like a coffee clutch or a cocktail party with her. And all she does is walk through the room completely surrounded by security guards so that
Waves
one...
hello and walks out
Yeah,
the door.
she doesn't even give a speech. She doesn't talk to anyone.
Right.
And it's just... Oh, it just makes me angry.
Bad.
Hey.
I'm going to jump in here because it's top of the hour. You are listening to us on KryptonRadio.com. We are grateful for that. If you are watching us, you are most likely seeing us over on twitch.tv/docking_bay_94. or you might be seeing us on YouTube, which is where these things go to die when they're over. You can watch them later if you missed anything. And conversely, you might be seeing this on my Facebook page, because that seems to be how this works. But yeah, and we're singling out Gwyneth Paltrow to get back to what we're doing. I'm Sean Crosby, by the way.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
The Millennium Falcon is Jeff. He's taking the night off. Kit is doing all the social media stuff for us. If you're seeing postings and things over there,
we probably don't have to, unless you have something else.
Well,
to say
I was
going to
bring something else that we're kind of pounding on her a little bit, but by no means is that limited to what she's doing. There were Minecraft conventions that people set up to basically bring all sorts of kids out to come and be with their families and do Minecrafty things, and they all got hosed. The convention never happened. People went away. This happens a lot.
Yeah.
But to tie it down to one person like this, who is like very high profile, is it's really just kind of crappy.
Yeah. And I mean, given all of that I dislike her so much, which is really hard because I used to like her so much.
Yeah.
The thing that's really difficult is that I'm sorry, not difficult. The thing that I'm not going to sit there and go out on the internet and, talk about my hatred and start up campaigns to get rid of her or anything like that. It's just that I don't like her, because she swindles people.
You feel let down.
I do. I feel let down.
You would put a lot of faith in her. You have enjoyed her work.
But I'm also not going to start a campaign to get rid of her.
Right.
So there's like a huge difference.
And it's because we come from a certain time. And,
that's true.
I know a lot of people who are considerably younger than us.
I think Sean just called us old.
I did call us old. We are old.
What were we watching?
We are the same age that Marion Cunningham was in Happy Days.
Yeah. Well, oh my God, that video.
We're as
we had
old
a
as the
friend
Cunninghams.
David, who posted a video of
Dean Martin.
The
Dean Martin Christmas special from 1968.
And I went and looked up how old Dean Martin was during this video, because, he looked like hell. And he's 2 years younger than
he was younger than we are. But, he was a smoking, drinking, partying,
God.
rat packer.
But we were just in the memorial service we were just in. Someone who was younger than Sean and I was memorializing her father, and she was saying that he really, really liked Ernest Borgnine. And she didn't know who that was. So she looked him up, and he was a guy who was in this TV show once about the Navy.
I think it must have been a really good show called McHell's Navy that he really liked. It's like, okay, Ernest Borgnine won an Oscar. He was in lots of other things besides that.
Oh, so funny.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
She didn't even bring up Airwolf. I mean, come on.
Hey, I don't remember whether we talked about this last week. Maybe we didn't know it, but Disney Plus price is going up $1 a month in March.
Oh, although I'll assume if you, like us, bought 3 years in advance, we're good for now.
Yeah, we're good until the end of our 3 years.
We'll just get hit in 3 years with like a $3 raise,
probably,
whatever it's gone up to at the time.
Yeah, and then we missed out on the free year for Verizon customers.
Right. Yeah, well, but apparently we're paying considerably less than we would if we were paying for a normal Verizon thing.
Oh, okay.
So we have a business account, which precludes us from getting some of the usual normal people benefits that Verizon has, but apparently we're doing it for like $50 less a month. So I guess I could live with that because we did buy Disney Plus, at a discount. So we'll have to see.
So they released a sizzle reel for Ms. Marvel.
Ms. Marvel.
Yeah.
Okay.
A newer character to Marvel Comics has grabbed the world's imagination, and we are excited to announce Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan.
Right.
This one I found kind of interesting. Guardians of the Galaxy is going to have a holiday special.
Okay, that could be really fun.
And James Gunn is writing and directing it.
Well, if they do it in the same vein that they did Jadu Hasselfrau and the whole music video thing.
Gosh, I forgot about that.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Oh, that would be great.
Because they could do like the Star Wars holiday special. It could be about the Guardians of the Galaxy trying to get somewhere. But if they put like those cheesy kind of music numbers in it, I mean, honestly, I would watch that.
Yeah.
If they made a Guardians of the Galaxy parody of the Star Wars holiday special, I would be all over it.
That's what I'm like. When you look at
I would totally watch it.
To me, and I might be totally wrong here, but when you look at it, it's got the Marvel Studios logo, and then it's got Guardians of the Galaxy in the normal print that you expect, the typeface that you expect, and it's red type with green around it.
Oh, cool.
And then it's got the and holiday special written in sort of cursive.
Right.
So it does look to me like the Star Wars holiday special, but I might be wrong.
If they don't take it very seriously, and apparently it's coming out before the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So
it's coming out in 2022.
It's like a lead-in to the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I really think it would be fun because that universe of all the Marvel properties,
it's the silliest.
It takes itself the least serious. Yeah, and I'm all over it. That would be great. And I want to see, more Jadu House of Frau and that kind of stuff. It would be great. And there's so much about music in that too.
Right.
That,
it's going to
be so fun.
Musical.
Oh, it'd be great. I'm totally down for that.
There's also Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And it's
all right,
the
that
third
sounds like
Ant-Man
a Disney
film.
ride.
It does.
Quantumania.
Well, I mean, you could just put Journey Through Inner Space back, right?
Honestly, yes. Except you would just have to have Ant-Man and Wasp figures in it. I feel like it's a missed opportunity. I feel like they should have called it Quantumphenia, like Quadrophenia.
Oh.
But nobody would get that but me.
So it's got Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer. They're all returning.
Oh, I hate those guys.
And Catherine Newton is joining the cast as Cassie Lang, and Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror. There's a huge oversight in this cast list.
Yeah, he's going to be there, though.
Okay, that's scaring me.
You're looking for Louise.
Yes, he's my favorite character.
He's going to be there. But we met an older Cassie.
Yeah.
If you remember, she aged because of the snap.
Right.
So, yeah, that's going to be an interesting change.
I wonder if it's the same actor.
I feel like it's the same actress.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Sean was kidding. He does not hate Michelle Pfeiffer.
No, that was a joke.
Yeah.
I love those guys. It was sarcasm.
Yes.
No, it's very frequently I will say that I hate people that everybody else loves because I really love them.
Yes.
Sorry. I didn't mean to scare anybody.
So I consider Ant-Man like among my favorite.
No, it's the best.
In the Marvel universe.
So good. Yeah.
But when we went back in like May and June, I think, Sean and I went back and watched the entire MCU.
In order.
In order.
Yeah.
And somebody's trying to start drama.
Yeah. I see you over there.
And I was like, oh, but gosh, all the movies are good.
Yeah.
I mean, with some
you just have to take them in the spirit in which they're presented. You have to know what you're getting in for.
I gotta say, one of the Thor movies I wasn't too crazy about.
The second Thor movie was kind of meh.
Yeah.
But the third one was great. Ragnarok was incredible.
Yeah, it was.
And so, it's but not everything's a winner. But there's a good example of like 3 movies in a series and the second one's meh.
Well, Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, right. Which I know some people really love Back to the Future too.
Yeah, only the people who saw it in the theater for the first time.
For the first time
and
as
they
their
didn't
first
see the first
first Back to the Future movie, right. Which means we're old.
John Watts will direct the new feature film for Marvel's first family, Fantastic Four. If that doesn't scare you...
Oh, God. Here we go
Anytime
again.
you hear Fantastic Four, it should scare you.
Okay, but that said, so we have had some really good Spider-Man movies recently. And it's not that some of the other ones were terrible, but the Spider-Man films we've had recently with Tom Holland have been really, really good. And even though they're Sony films, they have had the influence of Disney and Marvel, the new, improved, awesome MCU Marvel behind them. And I think they have helped make Spider-Man what Spider-Man should be. I think the way they've got him
Yes.
right now is
He is the best
perfect.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's perfect.
Yeah.
So, that said, the Fantastic Four has been owned by like Fox, right? And they've sucked, and they've sucked, and they've sucked. And there have been like at least 3 Fantastic Four movies. The arguably the best one was the terrible one that Roger Corman did just to keep hold of the license so that he could eventually sell it for a bunch of money. And nobody's really gotten to see that one. It's online and you can find it, and some people have copies of it. But it's the most like a comic book, and like The Thing even looks really great. And then the ones that they did that were the big budget amazing things, and they did weird things, and they made them young, and they changed things up, and they've just been awful. And so maybe this time, because Marvel's really involved and it's the Disney crowd,
Maybe it will be better.
maybe we're gonna finally get the
Fingers
good one.
crossed.
Yeah,
Fingers crossed.
I mean,
be interesting to see who they cast.
Or conversely, maybe we can make a deal with them that if this one's terrible, they never try
They
again.
bury it forever. This next one,
Where they buried the E.T.
Sean,
video
I think,
games
is going
out
to be
in the
excited
desert.
about this. Blasting into theaters June 17th, 2022.
The Rocketeer 2?
Lightyear is the definitive story of the original Buzz Lightyear, voiced by Chris Evans.
Chris Evans?
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to be weird.
Yeah. And I can't tell. I mean, it's Pixar, so it's going to be animated.
Yeah. Wow.
But,
all right. And it's a film, not a series. Because we had an animated series for Buzz Lightyear.
It theaters, so it's a film.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And
it's got to be well on its way already if it's coming out in
Sure.
2022.
I could be down for that.
The first-
I hope he does a good job.
Yeah.
I like Tim Allen as Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. I hope he's got maybe just a little bit of that in there, because I don't want that to be lost.
Yeah. Peter Pan and Wendy will be flying to Disney Plus.
Flying. I see what you did there.
Yeah, well, I didn't do it, so Disney Plus did it. This is I'm reading things off of the Disney Plus feed. Yara Shahadi will play the role of Tinkerbell, and Jude Law will play the role of Captain Hook.
Well, we like Jude Law.
And David Lowery directs. I don't know who that is.
So
Yara Shahidi's going to be an interesting twist on Tinkerbell.
yeah,
Did we talk about this before?
I think we
did.
did.
Already know this? Yeah.
yeah.
Because she's not white and blonde.
She's not the Marilyn Monroe
Yeah.
model that we're used to seeing for Tinkerbell. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's African American. She's from the TV series
The
Blackish.
picture I'm looking is like teeny tiny, so I can just sort of see her.
Yeah, she's pretty. I think
Yeah.
she'll do a good
Oh,
job.
I'm sure she'll do fine, but I'm sure there will be a huge backlash for that. But hopefully, as we go through things like this, there will be less and less backlash
Come on,
as
if
time
we
goes
if
on.
we can handle Julia Roberts and her teeth as Tinkerbell,
Yeah.
we can handle this. Come on.
Black Widow is not heading to Disney Plus before it hits the theaters.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I still really want to see that movie. I've been waiting for that movie for so long. It took them way too long to get to it, and now it keeps getting delayed.
Everyone's favorite little tree, Baby Groot, will star in a series of shorts on Disney Plus featuring several new and unusual characters in a series called I Am Groot,
Well, what else would it be called?
pretty much. I mean, I guess it could be just be called Groot or Baby Groot.
Baby Groot.
There's I don't know if it's a trailer. What is it? It's 1:27, so it's a trailer for WandaVision. But honestly, it doesn't.
We have seen trailers for Wonder.
Yeah, I don't think this is a new trailer. Oh, maybe it is. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'll have to look at it. And then
Well, and I'm super excited for WandaVision. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
it looks really good.
And yeah, it's it's really funny. I'm not
So-
a huge fan of like the Olsen twins,
But their sister's
but
good.
their sister's great.
So the
She's really grown
neighbor
on me.
is played by that woman who was in that awful movie I watched last night.
Mrs.
or the night
Kravitz?
before. Oh, maybe that's the role she's playing. I don't know.
I don't know. What's the awful movie you watch? Oh, Bad Moms Christmas.
Christmas.
So which one of the many bad moms was she?
The one that was really, really foul. That was the
Susan
waxing
Sarandon?
artist. No, her
no.
daughter.
Oh,
her daughter.
Oh, her daughter. Right.
Yeah, the one who was on Saturday Night Live.
Catherine
you looked
Hahn.
up her name.
Catherine Hahn.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So Colleen watched A Bad Mom's Christmas, knowing it was going to be really, really bad, and I think it was even worse than she expected it to be.
It was like I knew it was going to be bad, and I was okay with it being bad. I wasn't expecting it to also be foul.
Colleen has like a vulgar level, like a vulgarity level. It's about here, and the movie was about here.
Yeah, it was. This I can't tell whether this is a new trailer or not. So, but I guess everybody would be screaming about it if it were a new trailer.
Do you want me to show it?
I don't know how to share it with you.
Oh well, then
because
forget
it's
it.
embedded in this Facebook page.
Well, you could just send me a link to that Facebook page.
Well, I can't because
Okay.
it's
Well, then don't worry
shared-
about it.
Wait, maybe I can.
Not
Hang
a
on.
big deal.
Copy link. Maybe.
Kit is very upset that they are not calling the Andor show the Cassian and K2 Funtime Hour.
Well, they should pay more attention to Kit.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Colleen has sent me a link. I'm checking it twice.
Yes.
Will it turn out to be
and
naughty?
it's
or nice?
starting next month.
Oh, here it is. Oh, this looks like a new one, maybe. So
Let's watch that.
I'll tell you what. Let's give it a spin
Yeah.
here.
Eric says it's new too.
Okay, good. So I'm gonna get it all set up here for you. I am really looking forward to this because I love the spin that they're taking on it.
It looks really cool.
And I know that they'll like Twilight Zone the heck out of it and explain it away in some way I'm unhappy with. But till we get to that point, I'm really gonna love it.
The tension is.
So what's a single gal like you doing rattling around this big house?
Well, I assure you, I'm married to a man, a human one.
One.
We are an unusual couple.
Oh, I don't think that was ever in question.
We just don't know what to expect.
Howdy, neighbors. Hey, bud.
Wanda, what's up?
Who are you?
I don't know.
I think something's wrong here.
Wanda, can you read me? Who's doing this to you?
Are you here to help us? This is our home.
Then let's fight for it.
Well, I think we handled that well.
I
That's
have to
pretty
say that it seems to have one of my favorite elements, which is time travel.
Yes.
I love time travel.
Well, and even if they just do it in the sense of like TV universes, we have like I Love Lucy, we have Bewitched, we have familiar locales.
Right. I'm fine with that. I think one of the things that you will all be unsurprised to learn about me that I like about time travel is that you know, you get to see the different clothing from the different eras and the different furniture and the different I love seeing stuff like that. So that's cool.
Yeah, that looks really
January
fun.
15th.
Which, in the grand scheme of things, isn't too. It's like a month.
That is a month plus 5 days.
Yeah.
So basically, Mandalorian ends, then Christmas and New Year's, then WandaVision, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how much longer Mandalorian is going to go.
2
but
episodes.
2 more? Okay.
Yeah.
and I don't know if we mentioned this before, or maybe we mentioned it when we were talking. Loki, an original series from Marvel Studios, is coming in May 2021.
That's going to be a hard sell for me. We've talked about it on the show before. Loki's just an okay character for me.
Yeah. I hate that stupid helmet.
You know the way Colleen just said she likes time travel. My antithesis to that, I have a really hard time with characters, sort of omnipotent characters that can make anybody do anything.
Because then what's the point?
I check out so fast from a story, and Loki's really borderline for me. He manipulates so many people so easily in every way possible, and I'm like, I just don't have any interest in him at all. And he just makes me mad all the time. So it's going to be a hard sell for me to like that.
Stone Time Lord, don't tell people I'm a time traveler.
So.
Shh.
Wait, how come I don't know that?
There is a clip, if you want. I just shared it.
Oh, okay.
In the thread, if you want to show that clip, I don't know.
Of Loki? Okay.
You said you don't like Loki?
I don't
so
like
maybe
Loki,
you don't want
but
to.
many people love him.
While you're doing that, I want to say that She-Hulk is arriving in the MCU. Tatiana Maslany will portray Jennifer Walters / She-Hulk, and Tim Roth returns as the Abomination, and Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk.
Woo!
Although it says Mark Ruffalo will appear in the series.
Yeah, well, even if he just shows up to be the guy who says, "Oh, so look, you're big and green too."
Yeah.
All right, so here's something for the Hiddlestoners.
We're playing this just for you, Laura.
Get your hands off.
This scene again. He's on Tatooine.
He looks like he's in Mongolia.
Yep.
Now he's in...
You're taking me somewhere to kill me?
Georgia.
No, I'm taking you someplace to talk.
Well, I don't like to talk.
But you do like to lie, which you just did. Because we both know you love to talk.
How long have you been here?
I don't know, it's hard to say. Time passes differently here in the TVA.
What does that mean?
You'll catch up.
Glorious. Down. You'd better be ready. Come on. What did you expect?
So apparently Loki is DB Cooper.
Were you the one who said that, or did somebody else say that earlier?
I don't know. I just said it just now.
Right, but someone said it. Lisa might have said that earlier.
Oh, really?
I read that on the internet, and I couldn't figure out what they were talking about.
Oh, I don't know.
But
I didn't
also
watch
like
it
to
earlier,
say,
so it wasn't me.
I would also like to say that Tom Hiddleston does clean up nicely when he wears a 60s outfit.
Oh, he's a good-looking dude.
Yeah.
That's never in question. His character is an ass. But
Lisa did say it. She said a bunch of people said it.
Yeah. So it's an interesting premise. Well, there's your time travel, certainly.
Yeah.
And TVA, of course, as we know, means for TV adult. So it could be an interesting show. I'm kidding. Don't write letters.
They also announced Sister Act 3 and Hocus Pocus 2.
Well, we knew Hocus Pocus 2 was coming because of the huge push that they did for Halloween this year for Hocus. But I think that was a big gauge to make sure that the cult audience was still there.
We already knew about Raya and the Last Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
did they
all the
say if
information
Whoopi
I
Goldberg was coming back for Sister Act 3?
She's in the picture.
Well, then it must be.
Yeah, it's a picture of Whoopi Goldberg and says Sister Act 3.
Okay. I mean, well, she's a Disney legend. I mean,
Yeah.
she's contractually bound for the rest of her life
Right.
To play that role. So
Stone Time Lord has come up with the reason why I like bracelets so much. It's because they're time vortex manipulators.
Oh. Well, what about the one that has the Captain America shield on it? What does that one mean?
They're all different.
Oh, okay.
They all take me to different places.
Oh.
I love bracelets.
I feel so left out. I just have a Star Wars car. It just takes me to the market. I went to Target today. I didn't get to travel through time. Although I have to say, I'm kind of proud of myself this weekend. It only took me 3 days to replace my spark plugs, which are really hard to get at in the 350Z. It's a brutal engine to work on, and I don't have huge hands, and I had the worst time. But I cleared all the check engine lights from my car, and I really put it through its paces today. I went up a bunch of hills. I drove it on the freeway. I went around town, and no check engine light. Nothing exploded. Everything seemed good.
So you fixed it.
I feel very accomplished for now.
Wow.
Until something else crops up. And some guy stopped me. He pointed at my car. He's like, "Does your top work?" I said, "Because I did so many modifications to the car." He's like, "No, because they break and they're really hard to fix." I'm like, "Yeah, it's that one." yes, it's broken and it's really hard to fix. That's funny.
That is funny. So my gosh, what a lot of things Disney has in store for us, and
well, and we didn't even get the other half of the call, which was like, here's how much money we're making. This is, although they're in the hole from theme parks.
Yeah, well, and cruise ships.
Yeah, and cruise ships, and basically all of their entertainment properties. Although some things are proceeding ahead, like their Star Wars hotel.
Well, in theaters,
and things like that. But
too.
Yeah, well, in terms of exhibiting films, but don't they have something like 85 million subscribers to Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and so honestly, that as a revenue stream they didn't have before.
Right.
It has got to be
saved themselves.
Filling in for a lot of the movie tickets that people aren't buying.
And in case you who are not in Southern California didn't know this, Disneyland had just reopened part of the main street in California Adventure for dining when California went back into Southern California went back into lockdown.
Yeah, they opened Buena Vista
at the beginning
Street,
of this week,
and which were shopping venues and eating venues, and they had just worked that all out. And now everything's just slammed shut.
Yeah,
again.
and they had to close downtown Disney, and yeah.
Well, and I was hearing too that both Universal and I think Walt Disney World were underreporting their expansion numbers, where they were allowing a higher percentage of people into the park than we thought they did.
I thought that was just a rumor. I didn't realize that somebody had actually.
I think Universal, at the very least, came out and said it.
I'm going to be right back.
Sure. And it was kind of like a strange admission, but people were like, why are there so many people in the park versus, you know, what they're supposed to have. And of course, people have been showing lots of crowds with their, you know, with TikTok and stuff like that, and lack of social distancing and whatnot. I can't find the article now that I had it bookmarked, and I can't find it. But anyway, it was an interesting admission that they were having more people in their park than we thought they did. They were up to like 35%. I don't think they were supposed to be.
Skydance went into
35%.
Downtown Disney last Thursday, I think.
Yeah, I really kind of wanted to go before things locked down. There's an X-Wing helmet I'm trying to find that apparently they
kept going back and forth because you're not really, even though California wasn't locked down yet, you're not really supposed to be going to other counties for
it's
recreational purposes.
Really hard to make that decision to do that.
Yeah, so we were like, we could go, we shouldn't really go.
Yeah.
And then everything started getting worse. And now it's like, yeah, you can't go.
Well, gosh, and we're hitting records in terms
Yeah.
of illnesses and deaths.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh. So, yeah, it's hard to justify that.
Right.
And
Yeah, you don't want to be the one who killed somebody just because you wanted to get out. Go to a
yeah, the
restaurant or
worst thing
whatever.
about Disney shutting down the area they just opened is they now have to put, you know, another 350 employees on furlough.
Yeah.
That, like, just got their jobs back.
Right.
Although we have many Disney cast member friends who are now like working in other venues. They're working retail for Christmas and things like that, which is I'm glad they have found new jobs, but it's kind of a bummer because, you know, it's such a Disneyland is such a, you know, backstage theatrical cast experience for employees that retail just doesn't really cut it. It's not that same kind of
Oh, that's right.
kind of thing.
Skydance told us about this last week. About driving 8 hours down, spending 3 hours there, and driving 8 hours back.
Oh, right. Yeah.
We did talk about that last
Yeah.
week. All right, so now I should look at the document.
Right. Yeah, I have
See
it.
what-
I have it open here. We've covered a lot of stuff like that.
Oh, you know what we didn't talk about, which we're allowed to talk about now because it's 4 hours till they release the next one.
Right.
Oh my God, was The Mandalorian great last week or what?
It was pretty epic.
So good. And it was total fan service.
Yeah.
I loved the whole thing. And Sean told
Even the
me
helicopter?
before, I didn't see the helicopter. Sean told me before, while I was still working, and he's like staring at me going, are you going to be done soon? Because I've been working a lot of overtime. Are you going to be done soon?
And I
because
won't
I
watch
really
it
want to watch The
without her.
Mandalorian. And so he was telling me that people were complaining online because it was only half an hour. We watched it, and I'm like, oh my God, how did they pack that much action into a half an hour?
Into a
I
half
am
an hour, yeah.
amazed and impressed that they did that in half an hour.
Yeah.
What a great job.
It was the most comic booky of episodes, I think, for me. Because, you know, it just sort of like came through and it was sort of all action and there was so much fan service, so many payoff moments for things and references to other things and whatnot. But it was really good to see. I have to tell you though, I've been talking with some other folks who've seen the episode, and I'm kind of really done with the stormtroopers as bad soldiers trope. That could go away. Because,
that can't shoot at anything.
Yeah, I can't hit anything. Now this time we saw tactics and we saw additional weaponry that they used. We finally got to see them use the thermal detonator on the back of their belt of the costume. They were using them as mortar rounds in the show, which was really cool. So they were dropping them in the mortar and firing them up and blowing them up. That was pretty neat. So we finally got to see those in use. But you know, I mean, honestly, they can't get out of the way of rocks. They, there's all sorts of stuff that they kept showing us.
It doesn't make any sense that stormtroopers are that bad of soldiers if they're so.
And at this time, this point in the timeline, I'll tell you why this bugs me so much, is because These guys, because the Empire is gone, these are the people who still want to be soldiers. So they're like mercs who want a steady paycheck, and they're people who don't know anything else and are probably pretty good at it. These aren't the conscripted guys who've been thrown into armor the way like the Empire was. Because the Empire is now scattered remnants, the guys who are troopers want to be troopers, and they probably have an affinity and a skill for it. And I'd like to see more of that. And it's, stop making them the butt of the joke. Because the battle had a very Return of the Jedi kind of vibe to it, where like, look at the doofy Ewoks kicking butt on the stormtroopers. It had a little of that. And I'm done. I'm done with that. So show me some good kick butt stormtroopers who really kind of know what they're doing. Or if you got to kill them all off, do it in logical ways. That this episode was called The Tragedy, and in reality, it should have been called The Apology, because pretty much the main point of the episode was to put Boba Fett back on top. And went, hey, remember where he died like a punk in Return of the Jedi? Forget about that, because he's back and he kicks ass and he's awesome. And that was great. I enjoyed that a lot, and it was fun to see him use like every gadget at his disposal. And it was completely aimed at hardcore Star Wars fans who know all about Boba Fett. Because Boba Fett, like Darth Maul, like a bunch of other people, Grievous was kind of underused. Dooku was underused. All the bad guys don't get used very well in Star Wars. And Boba Fett had a death that was played for laughs. So I was really glad to see it. I'm glad they got Tamura Morrison in it. And lay off people when you're like, hey, he's fat. Dude's 60 years old. Suck it.
Yeah.
Lay off that guy.
He's freaking Boba Fett.
He's back. Yeah, whatever it is.
He's all the fats, actually.
I'm 53 and I'm fatter than he is, so shut up.
Just don't body shame people at all.
Yeah.
Let's stop that.
Yeah. But I liked everything. I liked it. But it was very much like a comic book to me.
Oh yeah.
That whole setup and the characterizations of everybody, and you saw what was going to happen in advance. There were no incredible surprises to me, at any rate. But it was fun. It's really one of the best episodes of the season, and just because it is them handing Star Wars over on a plate to you, going, here, fanboy, here's everything you want to see in one episode. And it was fun. It was really fun to do that. So let's see how they write their way out of it this time. And there were terrible things that happened in the episode too, but we'll leave those for you for another time.
That was the stuff that if you have been on social media at all in the last 7 days,
oh dear God,
there's no way you missed the fact that Boba Fett was in that.
Right.
So
well, and the tragic episodes, the tragic incidents that the episode is named after have been all over.
Oh, have they?
Too. Oh yeah. All the bad things that happened are now memes, and people are posting them when they have a bad day.
Oh.
So it's. I've been having some battles with people who I just want people to wait till Monday. It comes out on Friday.
Right.
Wait till Monday, and I've been going at people, and they're telling me how it's my fault. I got to stay off the internet. And,
no, that's stupid.
And Facebook, and it's like no, and it's not like we don't pay. We paid for Disney Plus. Why do they get to take that away from us? Are they going to pay us back now because they ruined it?
Jerks.
Come on, man. Be cool.
There's a link here to this week's Mando Monday goodies. I took a look at them. I don't like anything.
And I have to say that a lot of the Mando Monday stuff.
I don't think I've seen any Mando Monday stuff that I liked at all yet.
Yeah, well, and the stuff that I'm waiting for, like I like the toy box action figures that they do. They used to be the Disney game that you could play, and they turned them into action figures now. And I really like the design of the characters, and they have a Mando and Baby Yoda set, which I want to get, and that hasn't surfaced yet, but I keep waiting for it. But there has been nothing really that's come out of there to make me want to do it.
I don't like the plaid shirts that have been airbrushed
with the
on.
painting on it. It's like silk screened on the back.
Gross.
So it's like somebody took a, George Lucas cosplay shirt and stenciled "This is the way" on the back of it, and like drew a Baby Yoda coming out of the pocket, and it's not cool.
Yeah. Disney is doing a thing in Florida now where if you're on one of their rides that has the photo opportunity and you take your mask off for the photo opportunity, they airbrush a mask onto you. Well, not airbrush.
They Photoshop
They
it.
Photoshop.
They put a little stamp of a mask, and it looks too big, and it looks stupid, and you would be better off wearing your mask.
Yeah.
But that's an improvement over them just not letting you have the picture, which is what they used to do. If one person on the ride didn't wear a mask, you didn't get your picture, even if your group followed the rules.
Right.
So at least that fixes that. But honestly,
Why are you on a ride with another group, though?
Because they're putting up plexiglass in between the groups now.
I forgot about that.
That's a new thing.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I'm really, wear the mask, folks. I mean, come on. Honestly, you're going to look back in like 20 years when you look at your Disney picture with the mask on your face and go, man, remember that one time we went to Disneyland? We had to wear masks?
Yeah.
How weird was that?
Stone Time Lord says that people are posting things less than 12 hours after the episode release.
12?
People are posting things 12 minutes
I know.
after the
It's like, oh my
episode
God.
release.
So this past week, it came out at midnight Pacific time. Somebody had posted a spoiler at at 12:45 or something, and they had already made an animation out of it, and they had posted it, and it's like, what kind of a jerk are you? That's just not cool, man.
So Laura asked if we had seen the IG-11 dreidel, but it's not something you can buy. You have to make it.
Oh.
It's StarWars.com has a like a little how-to on how to make a dreidel.
Are they calling it a droidal?
I don't know, but it should be.
Well,
Hang on.
because when we did Life Day last year,
Right, no, they're calling it dreidel.
we called it a dreidel.
Oh no, they are calling it a droidel. You can make a spinning dreidel or a droidel in this instance. Yeah, because we sang droidel,
We sang
droidel.
droidel last year.
Right.
That's right.
That's funny.
Ahead of the curve, baby.
Yep.
Well, that's fun.
It's fun, yeah.
Well, and he's got that kind of head shape. If you turn him upside down, you could probably spin him on his head. Be a good break dancer. It'd be great.
Excuse me.
That's funny.
Yawning.
Oh, here we go. I'm like, where did our document go?
Let's see. Walt Disney World will not have New Year's Eve celebration.
Which is contrary to a whole bunch of stuff they posted a couple of months ago where they were like getting ready to do it. They were
Maybe
telling
a couple
you what
months
it was
ago
gonna
they
be.
didn't know that there was going to be a surge because they don't know how to read history books.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, there will be no New Year's celebrations. They sent an email saying they're decorated, they have extended operating hours, the locations will close before midnight in order to help keep the virus down.
Well, and that should be good. And they should stop raising the attendance without saying anything.
Right.
Ugh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't even feel, I don't know.
I'll tell you what's kind of really annoying about this. There are a whole bunch of us. I'm willing to bet that just about everybody listening to this show wants to go to Disneyland, wants to go to the movies, wants to do all this fun stuff. And we're for the most part being good people. We're staying at home, we're wearing our masks, we're doing whatever. And then everybody gets shut down. Everybody's got to pay for the people who don't follow the rules. And they go out and they have fun and they're like, "Oh, I don't care." And it's kind of a drag until somebody gets sick and then they die.
Yeah.
which has happened to a number of people I've known who have said, "Oh, we don't care." And then they went to a party, and then they went home, and they got their family sick, and they got sick, and they died, and their family doesn't have them anymore. But people who don't know anybody that they've lost don't care because it's not real to them. And everybody's got to pay for them screwing around. And that's what bugs me. So I want to be at Walt Disney World. I would hop on a plane tomorrow and go if we were allowed to go. But we're not allowed to go.
I just want to touch on one thing from the trailers, and then I want to move into the RIP section because there's a lot to talk about there.
Yeah.
Cobra Kai Season 3 is releasing in January. Woo. And that was really good. Everybody should try and catch up on that on Netflix if you have the chance, and if you watched Karate Kid. And did they...
Oh, I guess they released a trailer for Season 3. I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't either.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Well, you want to go ahead and talk about the losses?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So the biggie, the big one that happened a while ago that we haven't got to because of Thanksgiving and things like that. David Prowse, Darth Vader, passed away. When he initially passed, we had just heard that he died of natural causes at the age of 85, and he had been suffering from Alzheimer's, and of course he was a bodybuilder, and we've found that people who are sports figures and bodybuilders and wrestlers and things have a tendency to do quite a bit of damage to their bodies, and so he was suffering quite a bit for a while, and he had made the announcement a few years ago that he wasn't going to do any convention that involved him flying anywhere. So he stopped coming to the U.S. and whatnot. But in his heyday, after the Star Wars movies and going to conventions and stuff, he would come, he would hang out with the 501st and, go to dinner with us. And he took his role in fandom as the unofficial leader of the 501st Legion. It was Vader's fist, and he was glad to be Vader, and he had the best time with fans. He was a super nice guy, super sweet. Of course, he'd done a bunch of other movies and stuff too. He was in Clockwork Orange and things like that, where you can see him outside of the Vader costume. And if you grew up in the UK, he was known as the Green Cross Code Man. And he did a whole series of public service announcements as the Green Cross Code superhero about how to safely cross streets and that kind of thing. And so a whole generation grew up with him as this hero. And then, of course, he was in the suit as Darth Vader for the first trilogy of movies, which was pretty great. Really saddened to hear of his passing because he really was just an absolutely tremendous guy. On a local level, we had an entertainment reporter here in Los Angeles, David Sheehan, who passed away at the age of 82. He was ubiquitous. He did a lot of Oscar coverage and Emmy coverage. He was a red carpet guy. So even if you weren't in Los Angeles, you probably got to see him do his thing. And he was a really good dude. David L. Lander passed away, and this one was a little weird because we had been watching the Bob Newhart show, and we saw him in an episode the day he died as a guest star in Bob Newhart. But he's best known as Squiggy from the pair of Lenny and Squiggy on Laverne and Shirley. Michael McKeon was his other part. And they were in 1941 together as a bunch of soldiers on top of the Battle of the Biltmore or something, and with a gun emplacement. And they had their own band. In fact, they were on American Bandstand as Lenny and the Squigtones, and they released an album. And he rode that character until it wasn't fun anymore. He was just really great. And so they were the characters who got everybody out of trouble in Laverne and Shirley. If they'd written themselves into a corner, they would throw Lenny and Squiggy in there to save their butts. So very sad to hear of his passing at the age of 73. And then historically speaking, we lost Air Force officer Chuck Yeager, who eventually rose to the rank of general. But he was, of course, the man who broke the sound barrier. First one to do so. Something we can't appreciate now because when the sound barrier was an unknown, people thought that breaking it would shatter your plane. It would destroy the plane around you. So when these guys jumped into a plane and tried to break the sound barrier, they were expecting something big and horrible to happen. And when Chuck Yeager finally did it, he said it was super disappointing. It was like flying through jello. There was nothing that really indicated that you had done it. He was just really, really kind of bummed out. He was very upset that the term "the right stuff" became attached to him as the guy who had it, because he did break the sound barrier, and he was the epitome of test pilots, because he said that the right stuff was essentially not something you were born with. It wasn't an inherent amount of courage. It was something you worked very, very hard at, and it's what he did. And he just said that if I have the right stuff at all, it's because I worked very, very hard to be the best aviator I could possibly be. And I haven't seen it yet, of course, but Disney has a Right Stuff series going on right now, and also The Real Right Stuff, which is a documentary thing that talks about the actual situation. So if you want to memorialize Chuck Yeager, that might be the way to do it. That would be pretty good. And then Gil Jones actually sent me something over by Facebook. Is that Tiny Lister, who was a wrestler and an actor, he was in the movie Friday. He just passed away at the age of 62, and so he was the bully Debo in the Friday movies, and so he lived right down the street, Marina Del Rey, and was passed away this afternoon. So there you go. Sorry for the sad news. Denver Pop Culture Con 2021 canceled. Are we surprised?
I was surprised that the one in Texas happened.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Last weekend it happened, and somebody on the Consolation Facebook page went to it. His reasoning for going is because he's a vendor, and it's really hard to get into it because it's a juried system.
He didn't want to lose his spot.
Didn't want to lose a spot. So he went, and after going, he said, people shouldn't be going to conventions. They tried to keep it separate, but it wasn't safe, and people shouldn't do it, and they shouldn't be holding conventions.
Well, I mean, it's hopefully nobody got sick. It's good to have little reminders of why we're not supposed to be doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough stuff. It's weird times. Like, I used to work for a comedy radio station called KMDY, and after I left, and I had nothing to do with this, I just wasn't there anymore. It became something called Radio Oz, which was a kids station, and that eventually was taken over by Radio Disney. Radio Disney just called it quits, and which is weird because you would think that that would be like a perennial thing. Although maybe it's just that nobody's listening to radio anymore, but you would think they would just retreat online and be an online thing. But maybe kids just listen to Alexa and their own playlist these days. And you see all these videos of kids going, Alexa, play Wheels on the Bus.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, they're calling it quits after like 30-something years. 1996, I guess, is when they started. So 25 years.
Price of Happy Meal's going up.
Well, and that's inevitable. The thing, but for a different reason than I thought.
Right.
Toys are made out of petroleum. They're like oil-based. Plastic is. And usually the prices of toys rise and fall based on that, although they almost always rise and they almost never fall. And so I thought maybe that was the case. The toys were getting too expensive. But I guess Disney was subsidizing
McDonald's.
Yeah, I'm sorry. McDonald's was subsidizing the Happy Meal.
Yeah, $300 a month per restaurant that sold Happy Meals.
Yeah.
And they've stopped subsidizing it.
And while they stopped subsidizing it, apparently they have given permission to only raise the price by 20 cents a meal. And in reality, that's not much.
Well, it's not much. I'm just wondering if that... I mean, I'm sure they must sell enough Happy Meals to make that.
Yeah, well, they're like a loss leader thing. I mean,
Yeah.
people go in to get Happy Meals, and the adults are like, I will get food too.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so it's, the Happy... Like, you don't have to buy a Happy Meal. You can go in there and buy the toys. You just ask them for the toys, and they'll sell you the toy for $1.50.
But you know what you can't get? Is you can't get the half portion of fries and small bag of apples.
Right. You can't get those separately.
Yeah.
You can get the chocolate milk, though.
You can get the chocolate milk, and you can get the little hamburger.
Yeah. And actually, the latest Happy Meal toys, which are all these little Disney related things. This is the teacup one with scary, sick to my stomach Donald. These things only lasted like a week. I last time I went into McDonald's, the whole Happy Meal toy area that displays Happy Meal toys was completely empty. It had nothing in it. And it was like, boy, I hope you're not trying to get all of those, because that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think that might have to do with the whole that contest thing.
Screwing up the contest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a bummer.
Could be.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
I was excited about the next thing, which is also about food, and I like food, so. NASA grew radishes on the International Space Station.
I'm only disappointed that they're radishes.
Because you don't like radishes?
I'm like, yeah, I mean, I don't want them to grow broccoli or something. I just want them to grow something that maybe everybody kind of likes.
Radishes are good on sandwiches.
Okay.
I wonder if there's something about radishes that makes them easier to grow than, say, carrots.
Maybe.
Maybe it's their size, because carrots, need more
Yeah, I
legs.
guess so.
Although if you ate them when they were baby carrots. I wonder also, I need to read this article.
Well, but have they done the thing where, they took an avocado pit and drove sticks through it and put it in a cup?
I think that would be counterindicated on a space station where
just put it in a little bag full of water. It'd be great.
I suppose so.
Wow.
It doesn't say whether
radishes, man.
They're not allowed to eat them, so what difference does it make? The plants are being placed in cold storage to be examined when they return from the space station in 2021.
I thought they said they ate some of them. They said
Oh,
they
really?
were tasty and nutritious, although I don't know how
It says they are fully edible and nutritious, but it doesn't say any of them ate them.
Yeah.
Oh, they also grew
cauliflower?
Leafy greens and dwarf wheat.
Dwarf wheat.
That's what they've grown before, but this is the first time they've grown this type of vegetable.
I want to see them walking down or floating down the hallway with like stalks of corn down the center.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
And it says that radishes are easy for astronauts to maintain.
Fair enough.
But also they're good on sandwiches.
Yeah, whatever.
With butter and salt.
Mm-hmm.
French bread. A la française.
La 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 la.
Okay, I like them. And I'm going to be checking out here now. I don't know if you're going to go into overtime by yourself, but I am
not
tired.
really. It's been a day, and we're kind of toast. So
yeah.
A big thank you to Kit for all the social media stuff and for doing our main show document. Even though we mostly just talked about the Disney stuff that pretty much cropped up this afternoon. So sorry we sort of circumvented that so much, but we'll save some of it later. We'll talk about the monolith and all the kind of crazy stuff that's been going on next week.
Colonel Sanders, man.
Colonel Sanders. It's going to be sexy.
Yeah.
Sexy Colonel Sanders. It's going to be really weird. Mario Lopez is Colonel Sanders. Mm-hmm.
You spoiled it.
Yeah. Well, not like it's not all over the internet. And just do a search for sexy Colonel Sanders. No, don't. Don't do that. You'll end up with Rule 34 stuff, and it'll be bad. Anyway, we will do all this again next week. Jeff will be back to join us. I will be on the air tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern Time for Good Morning Tatooine. We will wrap out the week on KryptonRadio.com. You are always welcome to join me there and on Discord when we do that. And beyond that, gosh, I hope you guys have a really, really terrific week. Don't get as stressed out as Colleen is. That will be bad. And hopefully Colleen will be less stressed out.
I think so. I'm calling Kaylee Crosby.
She's so stressed she can't even remember her name. That's how bad it is, folks. I'm telling you. I am Sean Hobie, Sean Crosby. As always, may the force be with you. Wow, she ran out of energy for May the Force be with you.
Sorry, I got confused.
That's okay. Let's see here. Bye, Krypton Radio.
Bye, Krypton Radio.
Da-da-da-da. And then here, I'll show you our little credits screen here. If you heard our theme 2 hours ago, that was Chris Cosmomoose Medway. He's at cosmomoose.bandcamp.com. Does some fun music. You know Colleen. Jeff wasn't here. You know me. And we appreciate all y'all being here. And yeah, we're getting close to wrapping out the year.
Hi, Aunt Pat.
Ba-ba-ba. All right, guys. Have a great one. And I'll see you tomorrow on Good Morning Tatooine.
Night.